I'm Serge from Skycomp, and for Cybersecurity Month, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about passwords. You're like most people, your passwords, when you really think about it, is not very strong. You know, it might have started as password, and then you were asked to add a capital letter and you did a capital P, and you had to have a special character, so you changed the A to an @ sign, and you had to have a number, so you put the number 1 at the end. So you ended up with capital P at the rest of the word password with the number 1 at the end. Those type of passwords can get a little bit hard for humans to remember, but computers that are trying to hack your account, those are pretty easy. It's pretty obvious that an I might change to a 1, an A might change to an @ sign, an S might change to a 3 or a 5. Those are all pretty standard things. So I want to give you a little way to create a very hard password for computers to figure out and crack, but actually a lot easier for you to remember. The key to this is to come up with a bit of a nonsensical sentence. When you create that sentence, it'll be really easy for you to remember, and then you follow a couple rules on that sentence to get your final password. So if I think of a sentence like, my horse eats beans out of an envelope. So that I thought of a few days ago to use for the example of this video, and it has been no problem at all for me to remember that sentence. Now I take the key words out of that: horse, beans, and envelope. So again, still pretty easy to remember. And if I started with that, my password would be horse, space, beans, space, envelope. Now, that password right there is very difficult for a computer to ever figure out. That password has 3 different words that are completely unrelated, and it's a lot of characters. So that's already a strong password. What we have to work with, though, is that most systems won't let you use that password. A lot of systems don't like spaces in their password. They also want an uppercase letter, lowercase letters, numbers, and extended characters. So if we follow a little couple rules, we can turn that password into something that meets all of those requirements and still maintains that security. So my first recommendation, you always need lowercase and uppercase letters. Just change the first letter of every word to an uppercase. So now I have horse with a capital H, beans with a capital B, and envelope with a capital E. So that crossed one thing off the list. Now I have lowercase and uppercase letters. The next piece is let's change those spaces to numbers. And generally what I do, and it doesn't matter if you use the number 1 for every space, but I like to increment the numbers. So I'll end up with horse with a capital H, 1, beans with a capital B, 2, envelope with a capital E. So now I've added 2 numbers in replace of those 2 spaces, and they're different numbers, but again, still easy for me to remember, but hard for a computer to figure out and guess. Now the last piece is, I don't have any extended character. So all I do, tack on an exclamation point at the end. You can use a different character, anything that you want, but again, that's easy for a human to remember, but hard for a computer to figure out. And the best part is, really the value of that password came from the horse, beans, and envelope. 3 completely dissimilar words that very little dictionary crackers will ever try to figure out. You have a lot of digits of entropy in that password, so it's already very secure. And you add some varying rules. And feel free to not follow my exact recommendations. Maybe you decide that you want to make the last letter of every word an exclamation or a capital. Or you want to put an extended character, maybe a pound sign or an @ sign in replace of the spaces. So you can vary it up with that too, because our main purpose of this and the main level of security is those 3 words that are completely unrelated and have a lot of characters in them. So this is just a little piece of advice, and it's a great reminder for Cybersecurity Month to think about how you can make your password a little bit harder to guess.